The Enlightenment Chasers. Royalties of Peace. We are stealing the storms back to peace that has no storm while holding on to perfect peace. This is episode 52 of the Golden Age podcast by Mavis Free Lefang. Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. All about our journey to perfect peace. Seeming so hard to achieve, but very easy. More of like 20 hands trying to pick a pin from the floor, which can be picked just by one. But does it mean we kill everyone to have just one pick up the pin? No. It is possible for all 20 hands to pick up the pin if they work together with critical thinking, supporting each other will lead us to the one that can pick it up. When one picks it up, we all pick it up. But we must contribute to the ability of that one to pick it up, ensuring that the one picking it up will not lose their mind to think they did it all alone. For that will be against us and we against ourselves. There is need for continuous remediation, remembrance of what our purpose is and who we are and what we are doing. The last one to reach out and pick the pin must remember it started with the first humans on earth. This generation is not more than the Stone Age. The Light Age is not more than the Stone Age. For the Stone Age were the light of their time. Like these of artificial intelligence is the light of their time. Uprising. Enlightenment chasers. Bear with me that we are witnessing a transformation in a complicated way. We are traveling upside down, and such is very hard to travel. Reaching our destination will be so sore and bruised everywhere, needing rest before we can even acknowledge we have reached the end. We are so sore, in pain at a destination because of a long journey of traveling upside down. Hard work does not pay, but smart work. It is amazing that the hard work is only the candy wrapper, while the smart work is within. While we're working hard, smartness is completing itself. The reason why we're able to still move is because of the smart work being automatic, needing not manual interruption. Our manual work is the hard work, while the automatic is in progress. But if we could understand the automatic, we will not even have the hard work. What is this increasing in number and at the same time increasing in knowledge? Instead of decreasing in number while increasing in knowledge, we are knowledge. Knowledge is integrity. From infancy, we have knowledge deficit. Experience in this world surely is blindness. But to get out of the blindness or out of the world, we must resolve the blindness by either applying an assistive device or having the sight that will transition us back to the expected of our being. It is obvious that this is a journey indicating an awareness of weaknesses, seeking wellness. Aware of our weaknesses, aware of our diversity of being, does not mean we keep it. We must be able to resolve it. All over the world today, we are experiencing battlefields. Such is not new to us, but only more of alarming. And when it begins to alarm, there is need for attention, and we must be able to address it the earliest possible before it's worst. First World War, Second World War was not necessary. It is said the first fool is not a fool, but the second fool. Because the second time, there is awareness when you're becoming a fool, because you had been once. And it's either you address it to never happen again, or complicated grief it will be. Grief, the grieving period is in stages, and we had gone through these stages before. Different points of view is only an expression of grief until we reach the perfect view of one accord. Can compliance to perfection of joy be achieved? Bargaining is one of the stages of grief which we are experiencing today. Presidents against presidents, rich people against rich people, could seem cowardly, expecting them to have the same reasoning, are also struggling with deficit. Must we realize that the wealth of our world is only a shadow of the expected knowledge? Where you can see the shadow, surely the knowledge is there. Where you can see money, surely knowledge is there. But how do you find the object that owns the shadow when it's so easy to find the shadow? Why is it so hard to find the object? Diversity, divisions. A one house, now 7 different houses of the growing of the population of the house. when we are rather on the journey to integrity. The 5 stages of grief. If we have to make it 5, we have the denial, which is the shock, of the awareness of the weakness, when the weakness has always been the strength. Increasing in number has always been our strength. Trying to imagine a family with no children is like a curse. We are trying to even comprehend it, and it is so inappropriate. It's like being selfish to one that should be conceived. When we have so many young out here in the name of orphanages keeping, some separated from their own families, unable to care for them. The young are suffering in our very presence. The golden age is here. Really? How are we the golden child if we still experience these complications? Bargaining of what should be done and what should not be done is being carried out all over the world today. Africa against the Western world. The Western world suppressing Africa. The Western world against America, America against the Western world. It's no news to us, but the same revelation of cultural shock of what we are presenting now different. A one house now struggling with differences. Even those who grow together from birth still conflict each other, indicating we are on an unstable ground. An unstable ground. We are on an unstable ground. We are at an imbalanced state of being called the journey to integrity. Needing to understand the strangeness in order to return to our origin of perfection, bargaining each other's point of view, to settle with the basic can be a long term enabling depression. That prominently presents the loss of a balanced state, of a long time trying and not succeeding, begins to be realistic, a non realistic becoming realistic, such as depression, an addiction of the contrary, trying to keep the earth, trying to stay human, which is impossible, aware of the stages of humanity. The human growth and development presents an entry state of infancy, the fall, leading to a rise of wisdom age and transition, of integrity and not despair. The anger, very common, expressed with the conflicts and arguments. Such is feeling abandoned, unable to reach the perfect state of being, ascending and leaving behind is an abandonment. Our ancestors in the inner sanctum and we outside. It's like being left behind. And we are trying to reverse from this being left behind. It's not about keeping the nations, but enabling the nations is the awareness of our differences so we can heal to perfect. Not trying to boast about having a nation. We must understand the importance of interpreting healthily for the young to fulfill their mission and not ridicule themselves like we have. Of their reaching the diamond age should be with perfection and not upside down with sores and bruises. How do we heal the future? Starts with how we heal now. How do we resolve the soreness and bruises of our being so tomorrow can be healthy and joyful? Acceptance. Accepting our mistakes is not to condemn ourselves. Awareness of our guilt is not to reject our identity. We are not trying to claim to be the mistakes, but rather the worthy healing from the mistakes. Acceptance is the fifth stage. After anger, the fourth. Which becomes real after depression of the long time pressure point. That becomes anger. The depression, the third stage, from bargaining on a present state of either being realistic or not. A non-realistic presenting like realistic has always been a bargaining of our world. Some claiming it is real to be human, and others claiming it is not. The bargaining after the denial of the impossibility to even fall in the first place. The first stage denial of being born a child, ignorant, innocent, in the place of pain and grief, ignorant of grief, ignorant of pain, the denial stage of even when shown what pain is like does not even make sense. Rather, the pondering of the mind of what it is to enter into bargaining of if I am even in the world of pain or not. A long term of bargaining to finally realizing of how long you've been seeing the pain. Depression sets in, and the anger of why even the fall does not solve the problem. War does not solve the problem, but the acceptance that we are on a journey and not home will enable us to enable a care plan that will be fruitful at the end. Resolving grief has always been the measure of our ancestors, chasing enlightenment, chasing joy, the light at the end of the tunnel of grief. When grief is the journey, the traveling must be healthy. Today, with AI making the work even easier, should be for good. Technology does not demand increase of population. That does not contradict our work, or may end up halfway, not even reaching the destination with the easy tool of traveling. You don't want to weigh the plane too much, or it will come down. Every plane are required to have an expected exact load upon it. Graduation is here, and it's all about having that career, my dream career, my dream carrying on. Must we ask, what is a job? Traveling this road, it's not the job. Please let us not mistaken the job for the journey, but the job is the destination reached. When the journey is only the practice to the job, we must know going to school and having a job are all the training system until retirement. Then are you really having a job? And how do you know how to work when you are retired? It's by understanding the shadow of the job in all of this, of school and career, the hours of school and the hours of your job, the hours after school and the hours after your job. When you are working a 9 to 5, I'm sorry to alert us that our real job is from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. The things you do during that time is the real job of the job that you're doing of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, such that your weekend is your real full time of no job of your company being done, but your real job of becoming retired. Retirement is your real job. What you do alone when no one is watching you or supervising you. You may ask, if the supervisor is supervising me at work, who is supervising the supervisor? The worker are both in training. The supervisor supervising you are also working, and you working are also supervising the supervisor. Retirement is a time to supervise, putting yourself, the leader, leadership, wisdom age, integrity, gain. That is when job begins. If you have not integrity, you are still in training. Of every step, of every stage of the human development, there is integrity. But the integrity is is our main focus of growth from infancy, from that 20% acknowledged until the 85% of seniorhood gained, expecting the 100% of complete transition. You need not even enter the ground when ice sublimes and water evaporates. What is the point to put ice in ice? Supervisor or worker, we are all the same. We are in training to reach integrity. The worker supervises how the supervisor supervises them, which is why the supervisor must be of expected or will be caught by the worker. The nurse caring for the patient is the nurse's nurse. Of how they work, the patient will know if it is efficient. Both are workers, training to enter into integrity. Our journey to integrity should be with respect unto each other, dignity being given, if we really want integrity and not a prolongated journey. When 5 miles begins to look like 15 miles, we have to really check the load or how we are carrying on. Something must be fixed. From novice to experts, entering a job, you are a novice. You may ask, then what is the point of my becoming expert instead of retiring? That should be the clue to understand what I'm saying concerning a job. Your job is after retirement. Please, it's time to really encourage the young generation to be of exact expected of smartness. Enough of the hard work. Sometimes you even exhaust yourself during the training period, such that when you come to the time of retirement, you forget what your purpose is. You should be trying to enter your retirement with fullness of achievement, correcting your mistakes. The first few years of your retirement is to readjust and not give up. Some give up right immediately after retirement of their job expected, calling themselves failure when it is rather the time to transition from the failing part to the expected. 2 years or three can be enough after retirement to adjust and fulfill your expected of job, training others, educating the young, turning your mistakes to lesson, and not giving up on self. Integrity can be achieved no matter how complicated your journey has been, such that your training the young will even make them even better than you, and your completion of perfect, of you reaching your integrity and seeing the young leveling up with you reduces any remembrance of you being the reason of their fall. Graduation class, it's time to understand the system of our being all over the world, not only of the USA, though USA has always been that city on the hill. the dream world to learn from, only if you have the right interpretation. If you do not have the right interpretation, the dream becomes a nightmare. Out of experience, I'm speaking. Most people speak out of their experience, speaking the good. Even the one with the lesson also speaks good. Because you haven't enabled that approach of expected in your life doesn't mean you cannot teach or educate someone who is trying to make a living. Because you don't have that money to show of your training does not mean you cannot educate someone who is just starting the training. Be of expected. Are you the one giving the lesson or the one giving the blessing? When a lesson and a blessing are both the same of integrity, achieving, we need both day and night of its holy state. There is the holy night and the brightest of day, light. There is the peaceful night and the successful day. Your training should be successful to enter into peace of the mind, from novice to experts. Your expertise only comes with time. And even best at retirement should already remind you that you're only beginning the job of life. And this job is the only job that extends into the transitioning. Work begins after retirement to the other side. If you've ever been confused of what is your mission on earth, now you should have an idea of the time taken to understand the place of fall and know how to recover from it, to enter into your perfect of being, the inner sanctum, the inner peace, the perfect peace. It's a journey that shouldn't be long, and it will take how we educate the young to complete so they do not bring us back when we are about to enter into the perfect peace. It's even at that time that it's so easy to be withdrawn back to the place of fall. And how it hurts is exactly how the baby cries coming out of the womb, not even knowing why they cry, not even had never even cried, will start screaming out of their lungs without no one teaching them how to cry. Some don't cry because they are already addicted in the womb. Of the pain, the depression. They've cried until they can't even cry anymore. Some just only sob at the end and start a renewal. How pleasing it is to have that baby and call the baby, my great grandfather has come back to be with us. How comforting. But must remember, it is about entering the inner sanctum, the perfect peace. I'm guilty, but awareness of my weakness is to seek wellness. It is time for us to be able to address our very truth and explain why we are celebrating graduation from the fall, from the knowledge deficit. We are celebrating our recovery from deficit. Such should be our young generation of enlightenment, the golden age. Our young generation should be able to express what we cannot express, even at this time when our identity cannot even be of that golden sun we expect with all the conflicts we are having around us. Let the young be able to point at our weaknesses and say, I know the solution, because we are able to provide it for them, even while working on our weaknesses. Royalties of peace. We need not go to the ocean to know what water is like when a drop is sufficient. We need not enter the inner sanctum to know what integrity is like when we have the achievements of our present world of graduations and retirements of work done. Work must come to an end. Labor must come to an end. Every journey must come to an end. But how? We enable the rehab for all to understand will yield fruitfulness of full time, the weekend, the full time. Of labor. When a labor is integrity, it's like taking in the oxygen and you keep yearning for it and keeps you alive. It keeps you alive. It keeps you alive. Peace steals the storm. Back to peace that has no storm. Holding on to perfect peace. Thank you.